Hi, I'm Laura Mize, pediatric speech and language pathologist, and welcome to TeachMeToTalk.com's Therapy Tip of the Week. Whenever I begin to work with a new little friend who's a late talker, the very first thing that I always try to do is find a way to connect with them. Now, in my 25-year career, I have tried lots of different things. Sometimes it works best with a cool toy. Sometimes it works best when I try to feed them with a snack that they really like. Sometimes it's doing an activity with them, whether it's something like playing in the water or swinging outside. And the truth is, different things work for different kids. But hands down, the most consistent way that I've ever found to try to connect with a 1, 2, or 3-year-old is by playing some kind of social game. Now, if you've been to my website, teachmetotalk.com, or read any of my therapy manuals or seen any of my courses, you know that social interaction is the cornerstone of every therapy plan and every approach that I try to teach a parent or a professional who's come to me for advice. It, again, is the very first place that I always start, no matter what a child's diagnosis turns out to be. Here's the problem, though. Sometimes adults try to implement this strategy and then they'll email me and they'll say, this is not working. Or they'll just get really discouraged and stop. And here's the problem. It's not that the child doesn't like it, it's that he doesn't know that he likes it yet. So in this episode of Therapy Tip of the Week, I want to talk about the main issues that we see with toddlers who don't seem to like social games, and then give you ways to address those problems. Now, the very first problem is super common. It's that a child tries to get away, or more likely run away from you. They'll do anything they can to avoid interacting. Now, our solution for that is not to let them go. And we're not going to do that by belting them in a high chair and making them stay. The very first thing that we're going to try is to adjust ourselves. And again, that means you're going to want to make them stay with you. Now, you do that by being as fun as possible. Now, this usually means that you try to do everything you can to look and to sound happy and visually animated. Now, again, don't confuse animated with loud, which is what a lot of adults do. And then we tend to overstimulate a child, which means he wants to get further and further away. So don't do that, but do everything you can to make your face and your voice sound as happy and as pleasant as possible. The next thing you'll need to do is figure out what a child likes and then adjust your approach so that you meet that need. Now, most of the time, kids who run away from us actually aren't trying to get away from us. They're just trying to meet another need. Most of the time, that's movement. So their little bodies crave movement. So this means that we'll make our games, we'll come up with things that actually provide movement with us so that they don't have to get that by running away. So this means you might try something like chase, where you are running, they run ahead of you, and then you pick them up and scoop them up, and again provide that close physical contact, but you're with them. Or you might try something like another running game, but again, you do that together. You might try something like jumping on the bed or on the trampoline, but instead of just watching them, make yourself a part of that by holding their little hands and doing everything you can to stay with them and make that a shared experience. Now, another reason that children try to get away or run away is that they don't understand what you're trying to do. Words don't make sense to them, which again has caused or has certainly contributed to their language delay. Or you're requiring them to do something that's too hard and they just want to bolt and get out of there. Our solution is always to make the game simpler. So we might sing a song with fewer words, or if we decide they don't like singing, we'll chant instead, or we'll choose something easier, or we'll have a game that has fewer steps or fewer goals that we're trying to accomplish. The bottom line here is we adjust our expectations so that the child can be successful. Now, a big part of children not understanding the game or understanding what you're trying to do is there's not enough repetition, meaning you haven't provided enough opportunities for the child to learn what comes next or what happens in the game. So how do you fix that? You just keep going. You play again and again until the child really learns the game, and then he begins to like it. Now, the last very common problem that we see with kids who don't seem to like social games is that they have those underlying social deficits. And again, here our solution is we have to intentionally teach them the social skills that they're missing. So that means when a child doesn't make lots of eye contact with you, you help him learn to make eye contact. Or when he doesn't stay or stick around to share the experience, you help him build his attention span. Or again, it might be something like working on joint attention. You're going to have to be very, very purposeful about teaching these things. So again, that a child has the ability to want to stay with you. So let's put all this together. I want to teach you a really simple game where we are addressing all three of those common problems that we've just talked about, and then you can take this formula and apply it to other social games. All right, so let's take the first problem, running away. So here for this game, we'll take a laundry basket. Now this is easy access. Most families have a couple already laying around their house. So earlier we said we're not going to confine a child, and here we're not really doing that, but we are just providing a boundary or a place for them to stay. So for this little game, you'll actually put the child in the laundry basket, and again, this is a great way to handle the running away problem because you'll be able to stop them or keep them from going. And again, this limitation, you don't want to do it with a heavy-handed behavioral approach. You'll just make the social game or have the containment or have the setting as a part of the social routine that you are using. And some kids really, really like this containment. I think you're going to be surprised by that. Now, the second problem was that kids don't understand what you're trying to do with the social routine. And do you remember what our solution was? It was make it easier. So here we're going to play a super simple game. So step one, we've gotten the child in the basket. Step two, let's do something really simple and really fun. I think that I always start out with a game like this is just something, a counting game, or again, something that's so easy and just goes so quickly, just like that. So I like to play a little game called 1, 2, 3. And what I do is, again, I get right down here on the floor with the child, and his face is usually right in my line of vision as well. And you're going to create anticipation and excitement with your own face and your own voice, and just say something like, 1, 2, 3, out, and then dump him out. Can you see the benefit of that? It's super short, and you provided that movement bump by rocking the child back and forth in the basket, plus dumping him out on the floor. And again, you might not think that's a great idea, but kids love it. Our third problem that we were addressing was the social skill piece, and I've already talked about this a little bit. You are right down here in their face. And so anytime a child is not making eye contact with us, we want to try to put ourselves in his line of vision. So if I had a child right here, I might have to adjust my height up or down. If he leans to the left, I'm going to the right because I want to keep myself right there where he's more likely to look at me. If there's an attention problem, you can see how the nature of the game sort of handles that problem for you. He's already right here. He doesn't have a lot of options. And again, if he's trying to get away, you could probably do something to stop it. I like to just flip the laundry basket a different way. So he's changed positions a little bit. And again, if he's trying to turn around, I turn him around, or I get myself around there. Anything that I can do to make sure that I am still included in his line of vision and in his little attention, whatever his field happens to be right there. I am part of that. Again, remember, you're going to try to go fast with these little games at the beginning, and that's to build consistency, and you're not giving him time to want to get away from you. So play it as quickly as you can. Now, once that little 1, 2, 3 game is going and a child really likes it, then you can move on to something a little more complex. The next thing I always try is row, row your boat. Parents love this game because they remember it from their own childhoods, and you'll just sing it and again do something with the basket to simulate a boat. Most children like the music and will stay with you, but if they don't, Go ahead and do a chanting version. So instead of singing row, row, row your boat, you'll just chant it there. And again, that's very, very rhythmic, and children usually like that and will respond to that. If they seem to become overstimulated with singing and actually try to cover their ears or run away from you there. Now, all of these skills that we've just talked about are so important for language development, and it really is the starting point for all late talkers. And I promise you're going to get better results if you begin with these kinds of little games with nearly every late talker, whether that's your own child if you're a parent or if you're a therapist like me. So let's recap right here and let me talk with you about what we've done. If social games have been hard, the first thing we're going to do is pick a game to address a child's sensory needs and his specific issues. Now, if that is hard for you, I have a solution for that with my therapy manual, Teach Me to Play With You. It's the first manual I wrote, and it gives step-by-step instructions for it. Just tons of those little games. And the goals are written there along with the instructions so that you can walk a child through using these games. There's also a whole entire chapter on troubleshooting, ideas for what to try when everything is not going as well as you would hope. You can get more information about that book in the link below or at my website at teachmetotalk.com. I know that you're going to get good results. All right, that's all for today. I'm Laura Mize, pediatric speech-language pathologist, and thank you so much for joining me for teachmetotalk.com's Therapy Tip of the Week.